Hello there, Sith Holocron from the Dongers of Runeterra. How are you doing? And this is my quick review. We're going to spend 10 or 15 minutes going through what you see on screen, which are the Legends of Runeterra brand new update that goes live very soon indeed. So this is going to go out today on the 16th of September 2020, and let's go and see exactly what has happened. So the first patch of Call of the Mountain brings latest balance changes and the long-awaited debut of cross-shard friends challenges. Excellent. So it lands 3 weeks after the patch rather than the usual 2, which has given us enough room to put things in. Patch 11 will be adjustments to the difficulty of Aurelion Soul's level up requirement. So at the minute, he needs to have 20 across the board. I think it'll go to 25. Adding escalation to Hush's repeatable costs. So Hush costs 3. I would assume then that it's going to cost 4 if you go it again, and then 5 if you do it again in the same turn using the fleeting repeat as it replaces itself. And I'm really interested in this. Grandfather Ramul giving more hugs. Sounds like a massive buff to me. And Grandfather Ramul is pretty cool. So this is all from Ruben Zhu, the live design lead. He is D-boy. So this is quite good. So they didn't have enough time to put all of these in, but we know they're coming. So that's something to look forward to. And as a deck builder, I love the fact that Ramul might be getting something good. Hush may be getting a little nerf. And Aurelion Soul may be getting a little nerf. So let us go to the actual patch notes themselves. And we are going to start with the champions. Now, Ezreal Karma has been a huge deck. Really a massive deck. One of the best, if not the best deck in the meta before the Mountain expansion came along. So Ezreal is just a cool guy. Once you targeted 8 people, every spell that you then played, he was doing mystic shots to the Nexus, which is why things like Puffcap Peddler and all the little Puffcap one-cost burst spells were in there. So you were just firing these out and getting everything done for you. But it was NPE. Now, I loved playing that deck. I took that deck to tournaments. I thought it was incredibly strong. But I thought it was incredibly strong because it's not that hard to level up Ezreal. It's also not that hard not to play him until he is leveled, and then you go to town. And then you win. And because then you're also up with Karma. Karma's doing 2 of those mushroom things for each one. So you say pop 4 of those in a row. That's then 8. He is then doing 16 damage to the Nexus. That's unstoppable. So Riot have come up with a new idea. It's now you've got to target enemies 10 times as a minimum. So it's going to ask to you to hurt more people more often. So we may see things like one across the board. I can see Ezreal and TF becoming a very potent thing, like do 1 to everything and the Nexus. Yeah, there will be new builds for Ezreal, and that will be my first build will be Ezreal TF, because I think that the across the board spells and units and champions that we can pair him with are now even more minute than they were before. But I think it's a good choice. I think Ezreal was starting to dominate in the meta, so yeah, well done. I would give that a 5 out of 5. That's a good nerf because he's still very, very, very strong. So you would need to then build him with spells that target a lot of things, a lot more than like static shocks and all that sort of stuff. So there are things that will level him up even quicker, which I assume will be in the decks very, very soon for those people playing Ezreal. And now the one that I am absolutely overjoyed with. I would give this 6 out of 5. I have never seen Riot once completely redo a champion, including his champion spell and everything else you can think of. Lee Sin was a great character, incredibly intriguing, used to cost 6, was a 6/4. And once you cast 7 spells, you were leveled up. Now, as you can read here, he has been the least played Rising Tides champion since release. Okay, 6 is a lot, but you got a good unit, big attack, 4 health, 6 power, really decent. But now they've reduced him in cost completely. And they changed his spell. So his old spell used to be Dragon Rage, which was I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to smash your face. If it's dead, all that damage goes into the Nexus. It was, once you got him leveled up, he was just ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. The thing is, now he's 2 mana cheaper. So now he's a 4 cost. Now you need to cast 8 spells, so that's a slight nerf, because now you need to do at least 1 more. But a deck containing a lot of cheap spells, like the Lee Sin decks that we have had in the past, you're not going to have to wait until turn 6 to play this guy. You could be playing this guy really quite early. He still has the, when you cast a spell, get Challenger, and you get a, do another, you get Barrier, but he has been nerfed in power. So, because of his 4 cost, they've halved his power. He's now a 3/4 unit. That when he levels will become a 4/5 unit, which is pretty good, to be honest. The Dragon Rage thing ended games. We all know how to play Lee Sin. Problem being, they've changed his spell. And I adore the change. I think this is fantastic. Of all the current spells in Runeterra, this one is just brilliant. I mean, this is fantastic. If you have 2 Lee Sins, okay, give an ally a Challenger this round. That's part 1. He then gets Challenger as well. It all becomes, like, really damn good. It just becomes really good. You've got another unit out. Maybe you've got something else from Ionia. Like the Palm spell. So you've got your dragon down there. You put the Sonic Wave on him. You do that. He's now got Challenger. Now Lee Sin has got Challenger. If you've got a little tiny little other spell, then he's got a barrier. He's going to say nice and safe. Off we go. The deck building abilities and choices and partners that we can now do with Lee Sin is astonishing because they dropped his mana cost by 2. I can't wait to play Lee Sin and Taric. Drop a spell onto Taric, that spell will then go onto him, so he is guaranteed Challenger every single time. Make enough spells that are nice and cheap that do things, maybe like the +2/1s, like Pale Cascade, heal a unit, that goes on to him, that keeps his health and power and all that sort of stuff at full volume. Spell shields, you know, if you're going to put it in there, you've got all the Targon buffs as well. It's, you know, Zenith Blades, all that sort of stuff will then automatically go on to Lee Sin. I can't wait. I've built a deck. I'm going to spend today playing it because I think it's got real tier 1 abilities, and I think Lee Sin, somebody's going to come up with a tier 1 Lee Sin deck, and I would assume it's going to be with Taric or it'll be with Fiora. It'll be with one of these with a whole load of barriers and spells and goodness knows what else to kind of keep everything alive. But those 2 champions, I would say, will be really popular to pair up with the brand new Lee Sin. So a complete repackage. as I say, the cost down from 6 to 4 is huge. 8 spells, not a problem for any Lee Sin deck. And his own Sonic Wave, if you pull a second when he's on the board, just superb. So absolutely brilliant. The fact that this is a burst spell will help early doors, exactly like it says here. So that his spell should help early game and allow Lee Sin to contribute more synergy to followers, which he will. Now, let's go to the followers and spells. I'm a little disappointed in this one. So they're saying that War Chefs is too big at a 2/3. So they're making this change to allow more counterplay via blocking and rein in how consistently the card can create snowball wins. And yes, he is in every single Demacia deck I've ever built because he's too damn good. He's now probably outside of Lulu decks, where Lulu could make him a 4/4. I'm going to say that this is probably taking it out of the meta altogether. And that, like, Demacia Elites with Garen, MF Scouts with Misfortune and Quinn, and any sort of Demacia deck that wants to be tier 1 has lost a key component. How impactful is that going to be? I think that Demacia, for the last couple of patches, has been getting nerfed much more than they need to be. Bilgewater at this minute in time is probably in the top 5 decks, but there's not an awful lot of Bilgewater nerfing going on. Now there is one later on, which is quite key, but this is a big nerf. This is a big hit to Demacia. It's a big hit to War Chefs. And I'm now looking at replacing my War Chefs in my Demacia decks. Now, what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to change it to, is currently up in arms. In MF Scouts, I may go for something just like Make It Rain. Now, there's an awful lot of one health unit lists running around at the minute. So maybe Make It Rain. It's the same cost. You could play it on curve. You're just not getting your Demacia. But we still have the barrier 2-drop that is just a really, really great 2-drop. And I run both of them in my MF Scouts. But, you know, there are Hired Gun could possibly go in there to make something vulnerable. That could be equally as good as well to be able to remove it too. So a little bit of tinkering with my favorite deck at the minute, which is MF Scouts. Sadly, I think the War Chefs won't be cooking too much longer. Let's go to the next card, which is Flash of Brilliance. Where would we be without a change? So this was a 4, originally a 3, back down to a 4, then back down to a 3. I have recently made in the EU a brand new Heimer Vi deck. There were 3 of these in there because it creates in hand a 6-cost spell. The 6-cost spells then get you P and Z spells, and I have it with Targon. So we're getting a 6-cost spell from Targon or P and Z. Plus, if you've got Heimer down, that creates the 6/1 elusive, which is absolutely ridiculous. It is mad as heck. The fact that this has gone back to 3, I now genuinely think that because it refills your spell mana, we're now back to that Heimer Vi thing again. So say we start with 6 mana and 3 spell mana. You drop this first, you're still on 6. You could then drop the 6 straight away. You can literally play this round 3. You won't, because you'll want that 6-cost spell for later. The fact that it refills all your spell mana is absolutely mad. Heimer adores this card. But that was because he was making elusive 3-drop turrets, which, you know, is a donger thing, and that's what I loved about the deck. Still my favorite deck ever in the game by miles. But I think now with this, people will be going to P and Z and knowing that costs 0. Just it costs 0. And then you can play another card for 3 mana, as long as it's a spell. Fantastic. I really think that's a great change. So thank you, Riot, for putting that back to 3. That has made my Heimervai deck right back probably in almost tier 1 territory just because of that change. So I'm delighted. If you want to check out my decks on Mobilytics, it's under Sith Holocron. Go for your life. Download it. I've shared it around quite a few Discords, so it's out there. It's public knowledge. Heimervai, Targon, real good. Not too many units. It's only Sketcher, Priestess, and the Solari Soldier. But everything else in there, it's good. It's a real good deck. You get so many turrets, it's terrifying. Let's get on to the Overgrown Snap Vine. Now, Swim, the amazing streamer from Twitch, made an Overgrown Snap Vine thing that was just ridiculous, and everything that he killed off, blah, 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 blah. Cost 7. It's, yeah. So pretty much when you summon a follower, it's killed to become one of those, and it's now, I mean, as if it wasn't bad enough at 4/3, it's now a 5/3. And you know, these infinite deck combination things that has been going on, you know, if you know, I'm finding this just I don't understand. I don't understand. The reason I don't understand is I'm just going to read what it says. So this card's been a frequent request to change because it can lock you out of playing meaningful units, and while we want it to be careful given the potential of its effect, a simple boost to its power should provide a significant usability and payoff upgrade. In other words, you're going to have like 6 of these if your units don't die, and you know, as long as you keep one, you know, everything becomes an Overgrown Snap Vine. No, I don't like this at all. Not out of 5. Why on earth, when everything else you've done is really good, you've decided to increase this guy's power? Is I don't understand. Don't like it. No, not for me. Really, really, really not for me. Because every time you summon a follower, you build a deck with 40 cards in it to be impactful, not to have 4 or 5 Snap Vines. And now that it's got an extra power, I mean that's an NPE experience for me. May not be for you, but it is for me. 1 out of 5. I dislike that intensely. But this is a 4 out of 5. So the Crackshot Corsair used to be a 1/1. You used to keep him on the bench. You'd fire out something else. You deal 1 to the Nexus. Really good in Bilgewater. I mean, that is fantastic. But yeah, he's got a buff. He's now a 2 health. So, you know, the plunder-based units, not great. So I think the Corsair should be in more Bilgewater decks. But as Bilgewater is easily the best and strongest region at the minute, why are we buffing Bilgewater decks? Why are we taking things to make them better when they're already a super strong region anyway? Do I like the change? Love the change. I have already put these into 2 separate decks. In fact, these are actually in my Taskmaster deck that I have built with a whole load of 1-drops in it. So when that comes down, after you've dropped the Taskmaster, which we're running 3 of, this comes down as a 2/2 every time. And you can throw it out as a unit and do Nexus damage if you hold it back, or be used as a good blocker to hit spiders and goodness knows what else. And it's great. 4 out of 5. Brilliant. But the next one is a 5 out of 5 because I think this is fantastic and immediately made me want to build a deck with the Jagged Taskmaster. So it used to be a 3/4. He used to cost 3. He used to have 4 power and he used to have 3 health. Now he costs 2, 3, and 2. And if you run this guy like I did in my new deck for 110, which is this patch, enough elusives, you know, like Teemos, Fizz, Cutthroat, Poro Cannons, all that sort of stuff. you've just got an amazing deck that flies through stuff. It's pretty much become patch 10's elusive deck. Now, it's not an OTK deck by any means, and you'll have to kill an awful lot of your units back to stop, let's say, like trolls and yetis and Freljord big things and deep and everything else. But the fact that you can put everything back out again for one, it's fantastic. And the fact that you're hitting, if you can then replace everything 2, 3, or 4 more, hit again, let them die. You know, it's the games are very close, and I haven't even got to use this yet. I'm still using the old one, but even with this, it's going to happen quicker. We're going to get bigger, small 1-drop units, and we're still putting in units that can block and do so. Please check out the video on the Dongers of Runeterra YouTube channel. It's there and ready to go already. Go check it out. Deck code is in the pinned comments. Yordle Grifter, another Bilgewater card, except this one's been smashed, and I'm delighted because he was just an annoyance. So if you've been playing your Riptide Rex decks, goodbye, because now you're just going to have to be running solid warning shots to hardcast or parlay to hardcast to get them out, because this guy has completely changed. Allegiance cards, he wasn't. Too easy to be able to get your warning shot, to be able to put down your Riptide Rex to win the game. I think this is a brilliant change. 5 out of 5. Because in my opinion, unless you're running a mono Bilgewater deck, which would be rubbish, by the way, you could at most run between 3 and 5 cards of a different region, and you could still fail. Because it used to be create a warning shot in hand, and Allegiance nab one. Now it's Allegiance nab one and create a warning shot in hand. It has to be Allegiance. So the warning shot's not guaranteed. The Allegiance isn't guaranteed. You were delighted if you got a card, because that just made it even more bonkers. And the fact that it was a 3/3, that's a solid unit for 4 to get a warning shot for 3 turns later. Yeah, okay, thanks. Oh, a free bit of damage and a whole load of extra damage. So, yes, that is a great nerf. That is a brilliant nerf. I can see Yordle Grifter not being used as much as the War Chefs aren't going to be used. So, that's a solid change. And then we go to Cygnus the Moonstalker. So, this is the first card from Targon that has had a balance. It's went from 4 power to 5 power, and from 2 health to 3 health. And in any Targon Nightfall deck, I'm beginning to think he's an auto. I'm going to class this as like a 3 out of 5. I think he's decent. Now he's a 5/3 instead of a 4/2 for the same cost. That's excellent. I'm going to make a new deck built around him and a whole load of decent-sized land units. So I'm thinking something along the lines of Targon and maybe Freljord, or Targon and Noxus. Something like that that's really quite big, and we'll build it around this to try and give elusive this round. It may even be Demacia. There's a lot of I want sneaky things. If you've ever seen me build decks, I like synergies and stuff. So something that gives elusives to a whole load of elusives. But I don't want to go down the Ionia route. I want this to kind of make people go, huh? What? And the fact that it's only for the round, if you've got them down to, say, 10, can you imagine making Darius, like, you know, a huge thing on attack? You know, you're dead anyway. Never mind with him. But, you know, if you can make another 5/3 elusive, you've just won. So, lots of cool little deck building things we can do in there. So, then all the stuff about the standard gauntlets. There's a jungle thing that's pretty much taken from the gameplay in League of Legends, which is the bits linking the top, mid, and bottom tunnels. Expedition archetypes are changing, which is pretty good. But this, I think, is the biggest news going. So we can now friend challenge with all friends, regardless of where they are in the world, which is allowing big events to start happening all at the same time. There is the Jewels of Runeterra one is going to be Eurasia. It's going to start at 10 CET and 5 PM Asia time. So that kind of lets everybody in. So people in the UK, they'll be starting at 9 in the morning, but that's fine. And then it fixed all the little bug fixes. I think patch 1.10 is fantastic. Yeah, it's a decent one. It's decent. So that's my view on what is happening with the patch notes. War Chefs, see ya. Yordle Grifter, see ya. An awful lot of really good changes. So overall, 4 out of 5, Rat. 4 out of 5. You've done real good. If you hadn't touched this Snapvine, you'd have got the full 5. But hey, thank you very much for watching. Till the next one. Dongers out.